Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I'm Hanyo, your Demon Cinephile, and this is episode 7, season 2 of Interview with the Vampire. I could not prevent it. And oh god, this was the episode all those book fans were waiting for and dreading for. Yeah, this was not a feel-good episode in the slightest. The episode basically picks off where the last one ended. We do get a little extra bit seeing what happened after the Coven took the three. They just beat the god-awfulness out of Louis. They throw Claudia into the rat box, which is, my god. I mean, she could probably still tear at them, but still, my god. And then you got poor Madeline, which Santiago seems to hypnotize her. He puts her in some kind of trance to make her docile. I'm still not exactly sure why. I kind of guess maybe because she's so loud-spoken and outlandish. She make a spectacle, and they don't really want that. Also, before they go on stage, we don't see the actual action, but they slice their Achilles heel. Like they said they sliced it to the bone. So that's why they can't just run out of the theater or run underground. I mean, even they run out of the theater, it's still daylight. They're doing this play it's a matinee showing. As Santiago's announcing the crimes of Claudia and Louis, who shows up but the man they attempted to kill, their very own maker, Monsieur Lestat de Lioncourt. It's awesome having Sam Reed back as Lestat. I mean, he's been throughout the whole season, but as fake Lestat, as the Lestat in Louis' subconscious. And we also got that voiceover of 70s Lestat in episode 5. But this is the first time we actually see the character truly come back since season 1, and it's just awesome. Sam Reed is just amazing playing Lestat. Even with all the little differences from the book, he just feels like the character. And Lestat is basically playing along with it. He's playing along with Santiago and Sam's script. We're putting Louis and Claudia on trial for the attempted murder of my being. The first thing I do like is that when Lestat is talking about himself, he's talking about how his story is a story about love. How love has always been difficult for him. He brings up, once again, Nikki. And I like this contrast because how Lestat is talking about Nikki is how he talked about Nikki in season 1, with so much love and respect, the boy of infinite beauty. But remember how Armand talked about Nikki, how Armand said Lestat treated Nikki? Like he treated Nikki in how Armand made it seem like Lestat didn't really care about Nikki, that Nikki was just nothing to him, that he just abandoned Nikki and didn't care about Nikki. Which, if you see from here, that's not true. One of them is lying. Lestat tells a slightly different story from the book, that after he learned of Nikki's death, he dug himself into the earth and slept for 100 years. Now in the books, I wasn't sure how long Lestat slept. It was probably between like a few months or probably about a year. But yeah, in the show he said he slept for a whole century and woke up in 1908. So this explains the big gap in the timeline in the books. Why Lestat went to America in the 1910s instead of 1790s. But also there is some weird Lestat says he did all these different things on season 1, which he couldn't really been doing if he was asleep for a whole century. So that doesn't clock up. Something doesn't feel right about that. And also when he says Nikki died, or as Santiago said, Nikki killed himself, threw himself into a fire, Lestat says, oh, with a little help. And he looks up to Armand. And so yeah, there's like the books, Armand did help Nikki into the fire. Armand, I don't think Armand actually put Nikki into the fire, but I don't know, it felt ambiguous where he probably did do it, but you can't never really tell with that section. One thing though, he did take Nikki's arms, if I do remember right. I think his arms are still like alive in the modern time, or did those get thrown into a fire too? I can't remember. So much information in those books. But I do like how it's like, why is Armand just sitting there letting this happen? And they show like, oh, he's being threatened. And they show Sam, the playwright vampire, just standing by him with a scythe. Like, really? Sam? I mean, I don't know, maybe Sam is like 800 years old and a super powerful vampire. He just doesn't just show it. But I don't buy it. I don't buy this one bit. I mean, maybe in the books, this was Book Armand. Yeah, maybe definitely, because while Book Armand was a very powerful psychic, he still had his limits. Show Armand is so stupidly powerful for a vampire of only 500 years old. Or I guess he's not even 500 years yet in this part of the story. But still, like, remember that scene in the diner in episode 4 when Louis and Santiago were fighting? Armand stopped time for the whole, like, I guess world, or at least the mortal world for that section or whatever, and then he commanded all the vampires to fall asleep with nothing but a shout. He did all that at the same time. Armand is super powerful. I don't buy 1 minute he couldn't stop time and just make all the coven members just fall asleep and just help Louis and Claudia and Madeline out. Now, maybe this won't work on Lestat, because Lestat he's a little bit older and he has a lot of ancient blood in him. I don't buy Armand is just so helpless in there because Sam has a scythe. No, I don't buy that one freaking bit. Lestat goes and continues his version of season 1. Lestat says he was the one who was being hunted and constantly pursued by Louis, completely flipping what we saw in the first season, basically making Louis seem like the more aggressive one, constantly going after Lestat, wanting his attention, being his chaperone around New Orleans, which Louis does not like. He's like, no, that's not me. I didn't do that. Lestat even go far to say, Louis said, come to me. Which, the whole come to me thing is, that's like Lestat's big old call. His big old call to Louis when the first episode he says, come to me after Paul's death. And Lestat's love song to Louis is come to me. But here Lestat is flipping around like, oh, like, I don't know, Louis said that. I didn't say that. No, that doesn't feel like Lestat. Even Lestat would take the time to brag like, oh no, I wrote this super amazing love song for Louis. He didn't even appreciate it. That's something Lestat would say. He wouldn't flip this whole script. But you know who would? Armand. Because remember in episode 5 where Armand gave his little background with Lestat, Armand said, come to me. No, Lestat was performing on that stage. I don't know. Is this Lestat's words? I mean, it said Sam and Santiago wrote the script. Maybe it was also Armand. Also, we got this funny scene where a soldier in the top row makes a homophobic slur, and Lestat hilariously calls him out. Basically reads his mind and says, oh, you're a deserter. You didn't even fire your gun one time during the war. You tried to leave, you couldn't do it because you couldn't read your stupid map, and just said you got lost in the fog. It just makes him look like a complete ass. Which, I love that. That was fun. But also, when Lestat does it, I guess he runs up behind the guy, but he's so fast, it seems like teleportation. Which, I don't think Lestat was ever that fast in the books, at least not till Queen of the Damned. But also, I thought the whole stick with the Théâtre de Vampire was that they use their vampire powers, but in a way where it can seem like, oh, it's just tricks and strings. Lestat literally performed a true magic trick and everyone is shocked and at awe. Isn't Lestat technically breaking one of the great laws? Is showing his vampire nature to humans? Lestat keeps going about the season 1. He brings up the night of the riots after Louis killed the alderman. How Louis said to Lestat, "That's why you and me ain't ever gonna work. That's why you're always gonna be alone." And yeah, when Louis did say that in season 1, Lestat looked genuinely hurt. Like, he was so hurt at Louis' comment. Lestat and Santiago explained to the human audience that loneliness can be crippling for a vampire. Imagine human loneliness magnified by millennia. That is the horrible pain that Louis threatened Lestat with. And that is kind of a thing in the books, that some vampires just can't take being, well, eternal all by themselves. And they do need companions, they do need friends, lovers, or something in between. But some vampires are fine by themselves. Like, what was his name? The ancient vampire, Common. I think he was mostly by himself, like, for most of his immortal life. Or at least that's what it was kind of like that in Queen of the Damned. At least that's how I kind of picked up from it. No, not all vampires suffer from this crippling loneliness. I mean, I get it for Lestat, because it kind of fits his character. But all vampires? I don't know about that one. Lestat tells us of the night when Claudia was made, and is completely different from season 1. First, he tells Claudia that she can't remember correctly that her diary entry of the night she was made was written weeks after her transformation. Now, this is similar to the books, that when Claudia was made a vampire, she had no recollection of her humanity. She had no recollection of her human life whatsoever. But in here, Claudia does remember her human life, but she doesn't remember her transformation. You do the whole flashback, we see Louis is completely broken. More than what we saw in season 1. Claudia's dying, even though he doesn't know her yet, and it's destroying him. He said, "She called me an angel," and I think that's what got to him. He heard her whisper, "Are you an angel?" Or he read in her mind, he's like, "She thinks I'm an angel. And me, a vampire, this monster, this lonely, good for nothing, stupid pimp. And she called me an angel." I think that was a lot for Louis. And he just needs her to be alive. He doesn't really, at this important point right now, it's not even about saving a girl, saving this little girl, or not even a little girl, this teenager. He's just, I need her alive. He begs Lestat to make her. In this version, Lestat is even saying, "No, are you crazy? She's 14. We don't know this girl. This is stupid. The great laws forbid it. If we make her, she will hate us. She will forever be trapped in the chemical stew of purity, and it's going to be a nightmare for her. You'll love her as she grows to hate you, as you forced her to remain a child forever." And here in this flashback, we get to see Louis' manipulative side. Now, we've seen this with him and Armand, but this is the first time we've seen it with him and Lestat, where he is clutching Lestat, he is begging Lestat, like he knows how much Lestat hates being alone. He is exploiting. He's saying, "I'll never leave you. I'll love you. I'll never leave you. Just make her. Just make her for us. Like, I'll stay with you forever." I mean, Louis is even dragging Claudia's barely alive body on the floor, and he is calling her our daughter. He's like, "Look at our daughter. Look at our little girl." Louis, you don't even fucking know this girl. You probably have not even known her for like half an hour, and you're already calling her your daughter. Like myself, Lestat is so horrified and heartbroken. He gives in, knowing that it's a mistake. But during the trial, he also says he admits up to it. He's like, "I made Claudia. She's my blood. If you're gonna punish Louis for having her being made, you gotta punish me too." Which Alright, what's this coming from? I thought Lestat was all on his vengeance train. So why is he saying like you have to punish me too? Next, kind of a little weird slip up. Lestat gives his point of view of his relationship with Antoinette. Now, Lestat was he was a man whore in season 1. He wanted an open relationship and Louis didn't. Lestat's on and off thing with Antoinette started before they adopted Claudia. For a time it seemed like the affair stopped, but started again after Charlie's death. When the members of the family were all turning on each other, that's when he started seeing Antoinette again, and kept seeing her for those 7 years. Claudia was gone. Now, I hate cheating. I cannot stand a cheater. You should never cheat on your companion. But if you watch those clips from season 1 and listen to Lestat's point of view, he and Louis, could you really even call them a couple at that point? I mean, all they did was fight and ignored each other. And whenever Lestat tried to initiate something romantic, just them going on for like a little date or whatever, Louis would either just outright ignore him or just assault him and shut it down completely. So yeah, Lestat can't even be considered cheating at that point because Louis didn't really even want me there. And then they bring it up. Season 1, episode 5, that big fight. This is the moment I've been waiting for all season. We finally revisit the fight. The infamous fight that broke me and almost a tiny bit killed my love for the show. In season 1, the family's arguing when Claudia returns, and she returns from her 7 years away. She wants to go to Europe and find other vampires, and she wants to take Louis with her, but not Lestat. The family's arguing. Lestat snaps and grabs Claudia by the throat. He and Louis get into a big fight. Lestat, being the older, stronger vampire, dominates and tosses Louis around. In season 1, we didn't see what happens when the fight moves to the 2nd floor. The camera stays on Claudia. Now, we finally see Lestat has more or less calmed down. He doesn't want to fight anymore. It is now Louis who is escalating things and being the aggressor. It is Louis who is continuing the fight. Lestat looks distraught. Not really about the fight, but because Louis is going to leave with Claudia. Then Louis keeps edging him on, telling Lestat he's going to cut off his head and feed it to a lion, and just laughing at him. Like, this is like true scary Louis. I mean, Louis may not be that good of a vampire, but he can be one scary guy. Jacob Anderson's his performance right there was just like, it was haunting. It was sending chills up my spine. Also, want to mention great blood effects. Not really effects, just more makeup. Like, I just love Sam Ree's face covered in all that blood. Actually, now that I think about it, that's a bit of a continuity break, because if you go back to season 1, he didn't have all that blood on his face when he pulled Louis outside the house. Then I guess you could say that's just the nature of the show. People misremembering and telling their own version of the same story. I think this was for the best with the whole fight thing. Like I said many times, Book Lestat would never do this to Louis. He may push Louis around a little bit. He may flick him with a wrist and send him across the room. Book Lestat would never brutalize Louis like this. As much as I wish that scene was a fiction made up by Armand or somebody else, I think it was a good compromise. Louis and Lestat love each other so much, but they are incredibly awful to each other as well. Like, this relationship was completely toxic, and this was a good way to show that Louis isn't 100% innocent, like a lot of the fan base likes to think. Santiago tries to continue the trial. Quote, Lestat used his cloud gift to fly Louis up into the sky and drop him. And it was just nothing. Lestat knew it wouldn't kill him. He just tries to play off Lestat's abuse. And Lestat is acting weird. Like, he is just sitting in his seat staring off into nothingness. And this happens a lot in the episode, where Lestat would just blank out and just stare at nothing for a second. And he had to be reminded what to say and what to do. And maybe I'm thinking this is Lestat, and like, this is like Lestat's heart fighting against his revenge. Like, he's starting to realize, I don't really want this. Like, I thought I wanted them dead. I thought I wanted to hurt them, but no, I don't really want this. I don't want to hurt Louis anymore. I probably don't even want to hurt Claudia. Probably. But there's also this time where he just acts weird and off. He fumbles. He looks off stage, like he's trying to talk to someone who's not there. I don't know, it feels like Lestat maybe being pushed and influenced by another person's mind. And there's only one vampire strong enough in the theater to do that. Well, I'm saying it's Armand. It technically could be Santiago, Sam, and Estelle, but I don't know, has feelings probably be Armand, because this feels like something Armand would do if you know the books. But yeah, as Santiago keeps trying to play off the abuse, Lestat says, "A wolf, congratulated for not killing its pup." Lestat goes off script again. He's nearly in tears as he confesses how awful and sorry he is for dropping Louis from the sky. That he hurt and broke Louis. He doesn't deserve Louis' forgiveness. Like, it is a true, genuine apology from Lestat. Like, he is so awful. He feels so awful how he treated Louis. And he admits it, that he was forcing Louis to love him like he wanted Louis to love him. And when he didn't get it, it made him mad. And with everything, with the fight, with Louis beating him and Louis trying to leave him, Lestat, he broke Louis, and he realizes how such a great, awful thing that was. And once again, perfect performance by Sam Reed. He's just sputtering in tears on his little chair. Like, it hurts, like, just watching that confession, but you know it needs to come out. It needs to be done. This spurs Claudia on, asking why can't she just give an apology and get this over with. I mean, she didn't even kill Lestat. He's right there, and no one wants to hear this. The crowd is booing her. The vampires in the back are frying her brain with their mind gifts. And Louis just begging Lestat to try to do something. Like, this is what you really wanted, Lestat? Is this your big revenge? And then Claudia just breaks down and gives it to them how they need to hear it. That Lestat didn't come here to get revenge on Claudia. He didn't come here for Claudia. Even though she was the one who tried to kill him, he was not here for her. He is here for Louis. Because it's always about Louis. She's forever caught in the epic, destructive, bloody romance of her two daddies. And when she goes to sit down, we get Adeline. Her mind starts to clearing up a little bit. She's like, "Claudia, are we on trial?" And Claudia says, "It's not a trial, it's a stoning." And that's exactly what this is. They're not even given the chance to defend themselves. They're just there to be put on stage, to be laughed and be humiliated and mocked at. While Lestat, Santiago give this brilliant performance. We are shown that the Eiffel Tower stunt mentioned last episode was Santiago and two other vampires trying to contact Lestat with the mind gifts. Basically, they're trying to project their thoughts, and they just went to the high tower so it be reach a better distance or something, which I don't really think that's how it worked in the books. At least not that it was mentioned like that. They could easily try to send their thoughts to his way just on the ground. Also, just how long has Lestat been in Paris? I mean, if we're going with what they show on stage, it's probably like for a month or so, because it had to happen right before, because he had to basically jump on ship right before Louis made Madeline. So maybe a few days? I don't know, because in the book, Lestat was in Paris like for a few months. I mean, right after Louis and Claudia met Santiago in the theater, then Armand had Lestat locked up and he tortured him for months because he wanted to know everything he can know about Louis. So yeah, Armand basically kind of did Lestat what he kind of did to Daniel in episode 5 or episode 6. Episode 6? Episode 5. Episode 5. All the episodes are playing together in my brain. We get to the sentencing. They give Madeline a choice. The chance to join them. But she doesn't. Even in death, she wants to be with Claudia. My immortal companion is Claudia. My coven is Claudia. And it's so sweet. It's so heartbreaking because Claudia's like nodding her head, telling Madeline, it's okay, you can join them, you can live. But Madeline's like, no, I'm with Claudia. I knew what I signed up with. I'm with you. I'm going to be with you to the very end. And that is so fun because that's what Claudia needs. That she didn't get that from Louis, she didn't get that from Lestat, but she got that from Madeline, even at this awful moment. Claudia is sentenced to death. Of course, we all saw that coming. But she gives one final fuck you to everyone laughing at her, everyone, all the humans, claiming that if there is an afterlife, she's going to come back and murder everyone here. And knowing the Anne Rice universe, this is very much possible. This is a thing. Louis is about to be sentenced to death, but Armand uses all his mental strength to stop the audience and make them change their sentence to banishment. I don't understand this, Armand. You can make an entire row of like 13 vampires who have stronger mental abilities than a human fall asleep with nothing but shout. But it took you all your strength just to stop people from speaking and to change their minds to banishment. I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem like it was that difficult. Because remember in that scene in season 1 where Lestat had a party at their townhouse, and when Louis asked him to get rid of all the soldiers, Lestat uses his mind gift to compel all the soldiers just to leave the house. And there was probably like, what, 20 soldiers there, and he just did it. But when Lestat did it, it looked painful to Lestat. Like, it made him a little bit paler. He started bleeding from the eyes. Not the eyes, but, from his ears. But we didn't see that for Armand. He didn't seem to have any physical side effects from compelling the audience like that. So, I still don't believe that he used all his strength like he claimed. Louis is punished similar to the books. In the book, they locked him up in a coffin and sealed him behind a brick wall. But in the show, they put him in the morgue wall that they have in the basement of the coven. But when they put him in the coffin, they fill it up with rocks so he can't really move. Which, oh my god, that's horrifying. But also it makes you think of Louis' little rock ocean or rock island. His little pebble station in his apartment. So is that like therapy to Louis? That he took a part of his trauma and made it like something therapeutic? I don't know. Maybe I don't think they're gonna say it out loud, but I noticed that right away and it just made me feel. It makes me feel so much different about his little pebble room. The death of Claudia and Madeline in the book was different. They were locked in a furnace or something like that. I can't exactly remember. And they're left there for mourning. But if you read the Vampire Armand book, you would know that that's not really how she died. Armand was willing to give Claudia whatever she wanted just so she would leave Louis, because he wanted Louis all to himself. Now remember, but Claudia was made a vampire when she was only 5. She desired the body of a grown woman. Now, unlike what they said in season 1, decapitation can kill a vampire, but not right away. So you can cut a vampire's head off, but you gotta keep the head away from the body for several minutes or an hour or so. So all the special blood kind of drips down and drips out. You gotta keep them out of reach so they can't connect to each other. Because you just put the head in close to the body, the blood will just like knit the muscles and flesh and bones connecting together again. So Armand tried to give Claudia her adult body. Armand cut off Claudia's head, and he cut off the head of a random vampirist woman. A vampiress, and just put Claudia's head on the bloody stump, and hoping that the bloods would unite and like close the wounds and everything, which would be pretty terrifying because he's got a baby head on a grown woman's body. It didn't work out. Armand doesn't really explain what happened, but we just know it didn't take, and he threw her body into the furnace or the chimney, wherever it was. He threw it in there so the sunlight would destroy the body to ashes, just cover up any of his crimes, because he couldn't let Louis see what he did to Claudia. In the show, Madeline and Claudia are burnt in the sun in front of the audience. Santiago, they mentioned the telescope or magnifying glass, wherever it was, that he stole last episode. Santiago flies up to the center of he flies up to somewhere in the roof, and he gives his whole statement again, but saying this time that everything that you see is fake. And when he pulls the cover off the lens, exposing enough sunlight that catches Claudia and Madeline, and they begin to turn to ash. Claudia holds Madeline, trying to comfort her as she sings the stupid Baby Lulu song as a final fuck you to the vampires and to the human audience who just thought this was nothing but a dumb play. The sun is quickly disintegrating them. Claudia's been a vampire for about, 40 years or so? So she's a little bit stronger. The sun doesn't hurt her as badly. But Madeline, who's only been a vampire for a month, she quickly crumbles into ash as Claudia holds her, falling through her arms. And Claudia, her arms, her fingers start to go away. Her skull begins to show. Right before she goes, she turns to Lestat. The actress who plays Claudia said that the look she gave to Lestat was a cry for help. Out of everyone on that stage, she trusted him. Even after all the horrible things he just did, he wasn't Lestat the bastard vampire in that moment. He was Uncle Les. He was her father. She just wanted her dad. She just became a little girl again, and she just wanted her dad to try to help her. God, that was so hard to watch. I've seen this episode like almost 4 times now, and it's hard to watch every single time. This was a heartbreaking episode to watch. To watch Louis and Claudia suffer so much after they got their so-called happy ending. Claudia, even at her own death sentence, is barely paid attention to, as her father spills out all their problems to this group of random humans. I just love the look Lestat has on his face when he sees Claudia burn and turn to ash. You know he regrets it all. I don't know if this was just Lestat being so pissed off he wasn't thinking straight, or if he really was being mind controlled and pushed to do things. But at that moment, we got a true, clear Lestat. That he's so destroyed and distraught, looking at Claudia just dying like that. You can tell he regrets every single thing he just did. He thought he didn't care about her. He thought he didn't love her. That he only made her for Louis. That she's Louis's problem, Louis's child. I think this is the first time he realized he truly did love her. God, this was just a painful episode to go through. A lot of changes from the book, because like I said in the book, the trial wasn't really a trial. It was just the vampires holding Lestat up, saying like, asking, did they do this to you? And Lestat like, yeah, they did that to me. Oh, so they tried to kill you? No, it was just Claudia. I just want Louis. I want Louis to come back to me. Louis, come to me. Louis, let's talk about this. And it was just like a simple, very simple thing. Weird and horrifying, but simple. This just escalated that to a whole new level. And I know Sam Reed, the actor who plays Lestat, said there is some big change from the books that's about to happen. I don't know if he was talking about this particular episode, because it's a lot of changes from the books. Or something from next episode. I don't know. But the show's almost over. One more episode to go. One more episode. And please, 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 please let it be longer than the stupid 56 minutes. Give me a full hour length episode. Or an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know, that'd be kind of nice too. I know there's one little thing though. In the preview for next episode, Santiago says something like, we want to know what we did with her ashes. Now this makes me think something might happen, because I don't know, I always thought they were going to make some change with Claudia, because they changed her character a lot from the books, that they were going to keep her alive, which they didn't. But like I said about the ghost thing, you can always bring Claudia back as a ghost if you really want to do that, but there is a rule in the Vampire Chronicles: if you burn a vampire to ashes, you gotta spread those ashes, because the vampire spirit, the energies of the blood, or whatever you want to call it, they still work in the ashes. And if you don't spread the ashes, that sometimes the ashes will start to come together and knit and stitch and try to reform a body, but it doesn't always work out so well. They sometimes turn into these weird ash monsters. Like they're not really like organs and bones, but they're like kind of like ashes clung together. They're trying to form a body, and they're desperately trying to gnaw at anything, get all the blood that they can, even other vampires' blood, hoping it'll accelerate the healing process. Because I do remember in the vampire Pandora, in her novel, she encounters one of these vampires, and it is horrifying. It was horrifying. So yeah, if Claudia, if the rules are the same from the books, if Claudia and Madeline's ashes are left undisturbed and are collected, there's a 50-50 chance they can come back. It's just gonna take about 100 years or so. But yes, I've been Hanyo, your Demon Cinephile. The best show of the season of the year is almost over, but season 3 has been announced, so yes, we're getting Rockstar Lestat, baby. I cannot wait. Alright, gotta go. Love you all. See you all in the next video. Bye bye. See cups. Beat them up, beat them up, beat them up. You're still here? You're actually still here at the end of the video? Oh, I'm surprised. Thank you for staying for the whole thing. If you have a few more seconds of your time, if I could, can you scroll down to that description and hit that little button that takes you over to my Twitch? I stream there almost every day. We play horror games, action games, and visual novels. So, if you don't mind, if you like what I do here, if you can stand my annoying voice here, follow me on Twitch and we can hang out some more. Alright, hope to see you over there. Have a good day.